Alice in Wonderland. It was a warm summer afternoon. Young Alice was sitting in the garden with her sister, who was reading a book. Alice was feeling bored until something attracted her attention. A pink-eyed, white rabbit dressed in waistcoat, jacket and tie came running past her, clutching a watch and saying, with the little breath he had left, "Stubborn watch. At this rate you will make me really late." Curious Alice followed him into his hole through some dark tunnels. She fell into a very deep well, and she landed on a bed of dry leaves, in the middle of a hall, with a tiny door. On a small table lay a tiny golden key which possibly opened the door, but Alice was too tall to get through it. Suddenly she noticed a little bottle on the table. The tag read, "Drink me." Alice grabbed the bottle and gulped it down. The potion worked immediately and she shrank until she was as small as the door, but now she was too tiny to pick up the key. Luckily she saw a small glass box at the foot of the table. Inside there was a little cake with the writing, "Eat me." Alice tried a morsel and she began to grow and grow until she banged her head against the ceiling. She burst into tears and grabbing fan, she fanned herself for comfort. With every wave she magically grew smaller while the walls of the room disappeared and she found herself outdoors in a meadow. The white rabbit stood before her and, mistaking her for his housekeeper, he ordered, "Run to the house, as quick as you can, fetch me my gloves and also my fan." She went inside the rabbit's house, and she drank from a mysterious bottle. Quick as a flash she grew enormous. Believing her to be a monster, the rabbit started to throw pebbles at her, but they turned into cakes and Alice swallowed one. Immediately, she shrank to the size of a mouse and ran into the woods, where she met a caterpillar lying languidly on a mushroom, and smoking hookah. She asked him how she could return to her normal size and he replied, "If you eat one side of the mushroom, you'll grow bigger. If you eat the other, you'll shrink." Then he vanished into the air. Taking a bite from one side of the mushroom and a bite from the other, little by little Alice returned original size. She went on through the forest where she met a friendly cat who sent her to the house of the March Hare. Alice found Hare and the Hatter sitting at a spacious long table, laid for many people. They were gulping down the tea that was before them, moving up one place and starting pouring tea into the clean teacups all over again. Alice went back in the woods, where she found a tree with a small door. It brought her back to the hall where her magical journey had started. Alice collected the golden key and then ate a piece of the mushroom which made her shrink. So she unlocked the tiny door and entered a beautiful rose garden where she saw some playing cards who were painting the flowers red. Her Majesty the Queen of Hearts had ordered for red roses and this bush is growing white roses. If the Queen discovers it, she will cut our heads off. Just then the Queen arrived together with the King, the Knave of Hearts, the White Rabbit and all her entourage. She invited Alice to play croquet using a flamingo for a mallet. The balls were hedgehogs and the card soldiers bent over to make arches while they were playing. All of a sudden fierce quarrels exploded, and the Queen began to yell, "Off with his head!" Then the White Rabbit blasted a trumpet and announced the trial is about to begin. Before the King and the Queen, the Knave of Hearts stood accused of stealing the Queen's tarts. In the meantime, Alice, who was sitting on a bench with all the other spectators, was growing bigger and bigger. But she didn't make it in time to leave the courtroom before the White Rabbit announced the next witness is Alice. By now gigantic, Alice jumped to her feet and, in doing so, she tipped the jury box over, sending the jurors' legs up in the air. "I do beg your pardon." The girl apologized while she attempted to put the jurors back on their feet. The King decreed, Rule 42, anyone taller than 1 mile must leave the courtroom. "But I'm not a taller than 1 mile, protested Alice, who hadn't failed to notice that the rule had been made up on the spot. Against her the King, irritated, shouted, "Guards, arrest her!" And the card soldiers flung themselves over Alice. Swirling like a snowstorm, Alice exclaimed, and told her sisters all that she had dreamt. "Very interesting indeed, Alice. But now you must rush back home, because it's tea time," her sister answered. And while Alice went home, her sister stayed in the garden a bit longer, daydreaming, waving her arms to chase off the card soldiers. Alice woke up and found herself asleep on her sister's lap, with a few leaves resting on her face. "I've had an extraordinary dream." Thank you for watching.